Thanks everybody for joining us on Digital Learning Day. This is Kathy. She's going to talk to you about Discovery Education and the UDL.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Universal Design for Learning. Today we're going to look at Discovery Education resources in a different way as we look at the UDL framework. So for a little bit of housekeeping here, I'm a technology integrator here for the division, but what I would like you to do, and I'm going to share my screen with you, is I would like you to make sure that you are logged into my.ccpsnet.net first, do some housekeeping items. Also, make sure that you click on Discovery Education and open Discovery Education as well, and have the presentation open. All our links and everything that we will do in this session will actually work off of Discovery Education. So there's lots for us to do, so I'm going to work from that point. Okay, so in getting started, some learning targets that we will be doing, I'm going to put my presentation up for a minute, is that we're going to describe some of the benefits of utilizing a universal design for learning framework and how that works in your classroom. We're going to look at Discovery Education resources in a different way. We all know Discovery for video streaming, and other resources that they provide, such as images and some of their tools. But this time we're going to look at it for lesson planning in the idea and the framework of UDL. So we're going to maximize digital media in that context today. So what is UDL, or Universal Design for Learning? UDL is a set of principles for curriculum development. It's the why, what, and how of learning. It also is a blueprint for creating those instructional goals. It has flexible approaches. So UDL basically is a blueprint for providing those instructional goals, methods, materials, and assignments that work for everyone. And the three principles here are the why, what, and how of learning. So moving on, we're going to look at the why, multiple means of engagement. Using a variety of media and strategy to engage students is very important. In part of UDL, we have to think that learners have to be engaged in the why of learning. UDL is designed that it meets everyone's needs. So when we look at this through a scope of all our students, that they all have equal opportunity in learning. So one of the areas that we can really look at is Spotlight on Strategies in Discovery. Many of you may or may not be familiar with the Spotlight on Strategies. This is something new in Discovery. And what Spotlight on Strategies is a way for you to use instructional best practice in using digital media. That could be anywhere from video to images, even to audio for word prompts and creative writing. So we're going to look and explore on some strategies that we can find for engagement for our students. So let's click on the Explore Spotlight on Strategies, and as long as you have Discovery open, you should have no problem accessing that page. So here is Spotlight on Strategies. There are over 100 different strategies that are here listed, and they are categorized for you. As you can see, and you move down, you'll have a feature SOS. Each month, Discovery does provide a featured strategy. And then looking forward, you can see that they are all organized by different types of instructional practice. So if you'd like to see all the instructional strategies, you just click View All. And at that point, you will be able to see every strategy listed in that particular category. There are strategies that actually overlap. You may find one strategy that meets several types of learning opportunities. And in this case, when you click on a strategy, and I'm just going to click on one here just to show you, there's a video that actually shows you how to use the strategy. And then also there's a PDF guide below it that actually is the step-by-step also printed out for you. So these are really basic hands-on strategies that you can use in your classroom while viewing digital media or any other digital resource that you would like to use for a lesson. So your first opportunity, going back to the Spotlight on Strategies presentation, is I'd like you to explore. So I'd like you to find one strategy that you can use as an instructional hook and one that you can use for ongoing engagement. So going back to the Spotlight on Strategies main page here, as you can see with all the categories, look at some of the different categories and find something that you feel would be an instructional hook. You can go through some assessment. There's an instructional hook category right here. So let's look at the instructional hooks. Here are all types of strategies that you can use. Think of a lesson that may be upcoming that you can use with your students. Find a strategy and take a look at it. Think about this in a UDL framework. Learners have to be engaged in that way of learning. So why would learners want to know this? Where's the relevance? Why is it important to them? It also needs to connect to your students. Relevance and connection help motivate students. So as you go through the instructional hooks, also think about another strategy for ongoing engagement, and that could be in any of these areas: questioning, inference and prediction, point of view and purpose. Any of these other categories can work in helping with ongoing engagement through your class as well. Now, as you're working on this, I'll wait a minute or two just to kind of have you become familiar with the strategies. I'm going to look at the visual walkabout. Once you find two strategies, you can see that there's a web address up here at the top of your browser. I'm going to ask you to copy these. I'm going to put the presentation back up onto the screen and move to the next slide so that you can also catch up onto the next slide with me as you are finishing reviewing some of the strategies that you may have found. On this page, there's a board organizer. It will ask you to make a copy of the document. And when you first open it, it may look slightly small. You can zoom that up so that you can see it clearly. And here you can list the two strategies that you found. This way, when you're finished with this session, you will have these strategies that you can try out in your classroom. So for example, one of the strategies that I had looked at was the visual walkabout. I can now copy that web link, and in my document here, I can actually put the link here for that. I can say visual walkabout, and then paste the link that goes with it. And I can do the same for the next strategy. As we're moving through this session, please feel free to continue to add items here that you find, because we will go searching through Discovery to find some items as we move along. On this slide page also, we are also going to have some resources here for you later to look at. There's an SOS board that talks about some strategies, as well as some Discovery education resources, and those links are on this slide. So with all of this, I'm going to showcase one of the strategies for you, and it's called Pin It, as you can see at the top of the screen. Pin It is a spotlight on strategy, and it's a teaching strategy that allows students to categorize and solidify learning by expressing new knowledge in several areas. Students typically would use sticky notes, and you would have some large sticky notes on the wall, and students would then have color-coded sticky notes to post on different categories of topics that you are learning about. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to techify this a little bit. So as we're moving through our UDL search and with strategies, I'm going to ask you to use a Pinit board that we techified. So if you see here, I have the Pinit strategy up, and also there's a written guide here for your reference later. I'm going to move to the next slide, and there is a Google drawing. So I'm going to ask you to use this Google drawing to find some strategies for some different learning methods. So that would be factual statements, questioning, vocabulary building, and diagrams and sketching. If you click on the Google drawing, it will also ask you to make a copy of the document. And as you're looking at strategies now, see if you can find some additional strategies for factual information, or for a strategy on questioning, or a strategy with vocabulary, or even sketching. Please feel free to type those in here. You can copy and paste the link and type it into your organizer. So if I move back to an SOS strategy, and I'm going to go back to this one here, I can look for strategies in some of the categories that would fit. So for example, questioning. I can now look in the questioning section and find a strategy that would be a great instructional practice to use with my students. So throughout this presentation, as you're working and searching through things, I would actually ask you to use these organizers to add whatever you find that will be practical for you to use in your classroom. This is mainly for you to find strategies and ideas that you can take back and use in your classroom and use with your students. As we only have a short time in this session, I realize that you're not going to be able to completely finish some of these things. You may even begin to just be started with some looking and finding one or two strategies that you may be interested in using. We'll move through the presentation in just covering some of the different areas that address UDL, and then later on you can use these organizers to come back to. So if you're back on the presentation, the next slide has a Google Slides Pinit Notes template. These are for you later if you'd like to experiment with them. I included these also in the presentation so that you have all these different types of organizers available to you that you can use and which ones that you preference using. So another part of UDL is the what? Multiple means of representation. So we're going to look at discovery, and we're going to use the advanced search and filtering to locate other types of resources, so such as images, songs, sound effects. So this is a good time to find some things that we can use that will, for students who will respond to visual or audio cues. So as we said, universal design for learning really addresses everyone. So it's multiple means, we can have multiple means of representation in doing that. Also, discovery includes closed captioning and transcripts. So for students who may need visual cues even in the text, you can actually have your videos show the closed captioning. And with discovery videos, you will see CC on videos that are closed captioned. So let's take a look at doing a search in discovery for, for some images and videos. Think about some of the lessons that you teach, and I'm going to talk about parks. We're talking about history. I'm going to do a search. As you can see, you may get prompted for a new search. Just say no, thank you. Discovery has changed the way your search is filtered. Basically now you see them in kind of a card-like setting. You can filter. Right now you see you have all videos, boards, images, audio, text, and interactives. So say I would like to look for some images. I can click images and also select my grade level, whether it be 3 to 5, 6 to 8. I can select grade level, and I can also filter on the left side. I may just want images only. I may want only primary source. And you can see now that I will find images that are primary source images. And I can use those and add that to my multiple means of representation. So on my organizer, if I find something that I like, I can easily click the share, copy this, and put it in my organizer. But also be very mindful in Discovery now, if you are using Google Classroom, you can also share through directly to Classroom. If you're using Edmodo, the same here, you can share to Edmodo. So there's several ways that you can share easily if you are delivering some of these to your students through Discovery. Just always make sure if you're sharing links through Discovery Education that you have students log into my.ccpsnet.net first and also have them open Discovery as we did in this session. So I can copy this very easily and I can add this to my organizer that we had looked at earlier. And I can put an image here. What image did I find? And I can put the link for my image. So this was Martin Luther King. Oops. So I can continue to search and find some resources here that answer that what. I can filter for images, songs, and sound effects. Same goes if I'm looking for audio. I'm going to look for a particular type of audio. I can type in my search, the type of audio I'm looking for, and I can filter audio by audio. I can filter by sound effects. I can filter by time. So those are some other things that you can do. If you're looking and you search for videos, I will see videos here that I can use. You'll see grade levels. You can also, again, filter by grade level. You can see some videos are editable. Some of them may have related materials. You can see here, there's a full video of Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, and it also has a closed caption. This will allow you to play a video with closed captioning if you need that for your students as well. Many of these videos sometimes contain transcripts, so you're able to actually use a transcript, and it will actually show you the exact narrative that is in the video. Don't forget, you can always share by copying the link or to Classroom or Edmodo. As we're looking and moving through, I thought I'd highlight some strategies for you, just so that these are some other ideas that you can think about to work with your students and also address the multiple means of representation, as well as everyone's having equity in their learning. So this is a strategy called AEIOU. I've put the strategy link here and the template. What's really cool about this particular strategy is you can use this with sound, you can use this with an image, you can use this with a video. Students can use an organizer, and AEIOU is an acronym where A is an adjective. If they hear or see or they watch something, write a word describing that. E is an emotion. How does this information make you feel? I is interesting. What's so interesting? What interested you? You have those O moments or those moments. I've also shared a Google Draw template So you are free to use these templates, make a copy, but you can see how this works. With younger students, you can even use emoticons, and I have a link to a folder with some individual emoticons for you. So that is one strategy that also can be very helpful in addressing UDL. Another one is the strategy mashup. And a strategy mashup is basically something where, depending, you can have this with groups, each group has a board, and students basically will summarize different boards that they see. It's really kind of a cool way to do some things and have students really learn from one another. Here's some strategies for summarizing to consider as well. There's an Instagramming. And you know, we all know Instagram, and this is kind of a fun strategy. And here, it's a teaching strategy that leverages social media, that social media idea. Are they going to Instagram? No, but it does help for summarizing in whatever you are showing students, whether it's an image or a video. And from there, I have some templates for you. We have a Google Slide template. And this is an Instagramming template, so you can have the name of a person, they can put an icon in, just as if it were Instagram, placing a picture. So this helps students to summarize as well. I also have a Google Drawing slide. It's the same thing that you can use for Instagramming. It's just done in Google Drawing. Another strategy would be a quick rate. This is also a great way for summarizing, formulating thoughts and sharing ideas. And it's not really where you're looking for a structured writing. It's just their thoughts, they're summarizing, and they're just writing this very quickly before they decide to go into really a full writing where they're editing and revising a particular piece of writing work. And again, you have the video as well as the description. And last but not least is 6-word story. 6-word story is just that. It's 6 words for a story. Students can view an image, and basically, based on the image, they can write 6 words that will make the story for that image. And then moving on, the how, expression and action. This is a hands-on piece for students. Think about how students will create projects to demonstrate their learning. This is very much in line of the same idea that PBL has with voice and choice. Being able to give students that voice and choice to demonstrate their learning in any medium that they're comfortable with, that they can use, and that will be appropriate for demonstrating their learning. One of the things that I did want to mention to you is the template that you first used, which looked like a board. There's a board builder tool in Discovery. If you'd like to know more about that, you can see your integrator, and I've also put some information about Board Builder here on the link. So you can see here I have a little bit that you can learn a little more about Board Builder, and then 50 ways to use it as an interactive module. There's an example of a secondary UDL board for elementary. You can simplify these same principles the same way. Actually, if you search in Discovery, you can also find some boards that are very similar to the secondary UDL board, which also has images and is more appropriate for younger students. So next steps, and I know that this is a very short session, but next steps is to continue to explore Discovery Education's resources, videos, images, audio. Think about meeting all learner needs so that all students can learn, but providing that the 3 principles of UDL in your lessons. Explore the Spotlight on Strategy series. Your integrator can help you techify those strategies very easily to meet your needs. Connect with Discovery Education community and find other educators using the UDL network. Thank you for this session. I look forward to seeing and hearing from you and your feedback. And remember, don't forget that your integrator can help you expand on what you've learned here.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for paying attention to Universal Design for Learning and Discovery Education.